The Galactic Council met beneath a ceiling of cold white light. Hundreds of leaders sat in silence, watching the stars drift across a massive hologram. To them, the galaxy felt calm. Trade routes were stable. Wars were small and distant. Nothing threatened their rule. Humanity did not exist anymore. At least, that was what everyone believed. In a quiet wing of the Grand Archive, far from the council chamber, an archivist named Sarel moved between towering shelves of ancient data slabs. He was not powerful. He had no army, no fleet, no voice in the council. His duty was simple: preserve the past. Most of the past was ignored. Sarel paused at a sealed vault marked with symbols no one used anymore. The lock responded to his clearance with a soft pulse. Inside were records older than most empires. The files were rarely opened. They were labeled as unreliable, obsolete, myth. They were labeled with one word: humanity. Sarel activated the first record. A broken star map appeared, filled with warning marks and burned systems. A calm voice followed, translated into modern language. Do not provoke them. Do not corner them. Do not mistake their silence for weakness. Sarel frowned. He had read these words before, but they still felt heavy. The record spoke of humans as if they were a force of nature, not a species. Slow to rise. Impossible to stop once awakened. Another file opened. It showed a council much older than the current one. Alien leaders argued, just as they did now. Some wanted to use humanity. Others wanted to control them. None believed the warnings. The outcome was not shown. The file ended abruptly, as if history itself had turned away. Sarel checked the archive logs. Large sections were missing. Entire centuries of data had been removed. Not lost by time, but deleted by command. Someone had erased the truth. At the same moment, far from the archive, alarms echoed through a deep space monitoring station at the edge of known territory. Sensors had detected movement. At first, the technicians thought it was a drifting wreck. Then they thought it was a natural anomaly. The object was massive, but it emitted no aggressive signals. No weapons charge. No threat pattern. It simply moved forward. More shapes appeared behind it. Then more. Each one identical in design. Long, dark. Silent. The station commander stared at the readings. Those engines, he said quietly. They are not like ours. The data was forwarded to the Galactic Council. Back in the chamber, the calm shattered. Leaders spoke over one another. Some laughed. Others dismissed the report as a glitch. A few grew silent. One elder, older than most stars in the room, leaned forward. His voice was low. I have seen these shapes before, he said. The room fell quiet. Where? A counselor demanded. In records that were later erased, the elder replied. Records we were told to forget. The council dismissed him. Fear had no place in a galaxy that believed itself supreme. But Sarel did not forget. He rushed from the archive to a private terminal and sent a request directly to the council. It was a small act of rebellion. Archivists were not meant to interrupt power. His message was simple. The ancient records were not legends. They were warnings. Minutes later, the Deep Space Station sent another update. The objects had slowed. They had stopped near a key trade corridor. Still no weapons. Still no communication. That silence was worse than an attack. The elder counselor stared at the hologram, at the dark shapes resting among the stars. He remembered a line from the Forbidden Records, one that haunted him across centuries. When they return, they will not come in anger. They will come to see what you have become. In the archive, Sarel stood alone, watching the same image. He realized then why the records frightened the past so much. Humanity did not conquer to rule. They watched. They waited. And when they acted, history ended and began again. The galaxy had ignored the warnings. Now the warnings had arrived. The Galactic Council chamber was louder than it had ever been. Voices clashed. Leaders argued. Some demanded immediate action. Others demanded silence. The dark shapes on the hologram did not move. That alone unsettled everyone. No weapons fire. No threats. No demands. Just presence. The Council's military advisors stepped forward one by one. Each delivered the same report with growing discomfort. The ships are not charging weapons. They are not scanning us aggressively. They are not responding to hails. One commander finally spoke the truth no one wanted to hear. They are not behaving like an enemy. That sentence chilled the room. Across the galaxy, civilian networks lit up with rumors. Merchants abandoned routes. Border worlds shut down ports. Even pirate clans went silent. Fear spread faster than any fleet. At a research station near the silent ships, scientists studied the data in disbelief. The technology was old and advanced at the same time. No waste energy. No visible heat signatures. Power systems that looked simple, yet performed beyond modern limits. One scientist whispered, "This design, it prioritizes control, not force." That observation was forwarded to the Council. Meanwhile, Sarel stood before the Council at last. He was small compared to the leaders around him, but his voice did not shake. "You ignored the records," he said. "But they never ignored you." A counselor snapped back, "Those texts are myths." Sarel activated a projection. Ancient battle data filled the chamber. Entire armadas gone. Empires erased, not slowly, but completely. "These are not myths," Sarel said. "These are results." The elder counselor who had spoken earlier nodded slowly. "Humans did not fight often," he said. "But when they did, they ended wars so fully that history could not repeat them." A younger leader laughed nervously. "If they are so powerful, why did they vanish?" Sarel answered quietly. "Because the galaxy betrayed them." The records showed it clearly. Humanity had once defended weaker species. They held back greater threats. They asked for nothing except cooperation. Instead, the galaxy feared them. Alliances were formed behind human backs. Restrictions were placed. Control was attempted. Humanity was treated as a weapon, not a people. So they left. Not in defeat. Not in collapse. They chose silence. That silence had lasted thousands of cycles. Until now. Another update arrived. A single human ship separated from the formation. It moved closer to the trade corridor. Still no weapons. Still no communication. But this time, something changed. The ship projected a field. Every sensor within range froze for exactly 3 seconds. Then restarted. No damage. No attack. Just a demonstration. Military commanders turned pale. "That field could shut down our entire defense grid," one said. "If they wanted to." Fear replaced debate. The Council finally agreed to send a message. A peaceful greeting. Formal words. Carefully chosen phrases. The message was sent across every known frequency. There was no reply. Hours passed. Then days. The human ships did not advance. They did not retreat. They waited. Sarel returned to the archive, opening one final restricted record. It was marked with a symbol of balance, not war. The final line appeared on the screen. Humanity does not seek dominion. It seeks understanding. If none is found, judgment follows. Sarel closed the file. Across the galaxy, leaders stared at the silent fleet and understood the truth too late. The ancient records had never exaggerated. They had warned. And now, the galaxy stood before a power that did not need to shout to be heard. Fear changed the galaxy in small, quiet ways. War fleets stopped training. Borders closed without orders. Worlds that once argued over trade now watched the stars in silence. No one wanted to be the first to make a mistake. The human ships remained still. That was the worst part. The Galactic Council demanded deeper scans, but every attempt failed. Human hulls absorbed sensor waves like dark water. Even time-based scans returned empty, as if the ships did not fully exist in the present. Scientists argued late into the cycle. One conclusion repeated again and again. These ships are not built to fight us, a senior analyst said. They are built to survive us. That idea frightened everyone more than weapons ever could. In the archive, Sarel uncovered something new. A personal record, not a military one. It was written by a human historian long before humanity vanished. The translation was rough, but the meaning was clear. We learned that power without restraint destroys both the ruler and the ruled. So we chose restraint. Sarel shared the file with the elder counselor. For the first time, the old leader looked tired instead of proud. "Show them," he said. "All of it." The council reconvened. This time, there was no shouting. Sarel displayed the full ancient timeline. It showed humanity's rise, not through conquest, but through endurance. Humans came from a harsh world. They adapted. They failed. They learned. When wars came, they fought only to protect. When victory came, they stopped. That restraint made the galaxy uneasy. Other empires ruled through fear. Humans ruled through responsibility. And that scared everyone. The records showed the moment of betrayal. Secret councils. Broken treaties. Plans to limit human expansion. Not because humans were cruel, but because they were strong and unpredictable. Humanity discovered the truth. They did not retaliate. They withdrew. The galaxy thought it had won. Now the price of that choice hovered above every star system. A signal finally came from the human fleet. It was not sent to the council alone. It was broadcast openly, reaching civilians, soldiers, and leaders alike. The message contained no threat. Only history. Images of forgotten battles. Of human ships shielding alien worlds. Of human soldiers dying to save species that would later turn against them. The final image showed humanity leaving. Fleets disappearing into deep space, sealing their borders behind them. Then the message ended. No demands followed. No explanation. The galaxy understood the lesson at last. Humanity had returned not to conquer, but to measure. To see who remembered. To see who deserved trust. Military leaders whispered plans of resistance, but their voices lacked confidence. They knew now that fighting would not be war. It would be extinction. Sarel watched the stars dim as human ships slowly shifted formation. Not forward. Not backward. Around key systems. Protective positions. The weak worlds noticed first. Refugee planets. Forgotten colonies. Places the council had ignored for centuries. Human ships placed themselves between those worlds and danger. The message was clear. Humanity still protected life. But not empires. The elder counselor closed his eyes. "We failed the test once," he said softly. "Now they are watching to see if we fail again." Sarel realized the truth then. This was not an invasion. It was a lesson. And the galaxy had only one chance to learn it. The change began without announcement. Across the galaxy, human ships activated wide, invisible fields. Trade lanes stabilized. Pirate attacks ended overnight. Border skirmishes stopped as weapons systems failed to lock or fire whenever violence was initiated. No ships were destroyed. No worlds were attacked. Yet every empire felt smaller. Military councils panicked. Generals shouted orders that no longer mattered. Weapons refused to respond. Fleets drifted in powerless silence, trapped by systems they could not override. Scientists reached the same conclusion in secret. This is not a weapon, one said. It is control. The Galactic Council convened for the last time in panic. For the first time in history, power meant nothing in that chamber. Titles did not matter. Fleets did not matter. Only choices. Sarel stood again before them, no longer as a simple archivist, but as the voice of history. You feared humanity because you did not understand restraint, he said. You believed power must dominate. Humans believed power must protect. The elder counselor bowed his head. Others followed. Not in tradition, but in recognition. A final human transmission arrived. One voice. Calm. Clear. We did not return to rule you, the voice said. We returned to see if the galaxy could rule itself. The message continued. We protected you once. You repaid us with fear. So we left. In our absence, you proved our warning correct. Human ships began to withdraw from imperial worlds. But they remained near vulnerable systems. Refugee planets felt safe for the first time in centuries. Humanity had chosen sides. Not between empires. Between responsibility and cruelty. The voice spoke one final time. Power ignored becomes judgment remembered. Then the signal ended. Slowly, the fields deactivated. Weapons returned. Fleets regained control. But nothing felt the same. The galaxy had been measured. And found wanting. Sarel returned to the archive and unlocked a final record. He added a new entry beneath the ancient warnings. They came back. They did not destroy us. They taught us. Outside, the stars seemed quieter. Not because humanity had left, but because the galaxy finally listened. For the first time in its long history, the galaxy understood why the ancient records had feared humanity. Not for their strength. But for their restraint.